TV soap news and spoilers say that in the sleepy coastal town of Crestwood, where secrets simmer beneath the surface of polite smiles and quiet evenings, a storm is brewing. At the heart of it is Haley Hamilton, a young woman whose calculated lies and theatrical displays have ensnared the town in a web of intrigue and suspicion. The drama unfolding in Beyond the Gates has gripped the community, and at its core is a single, shocking moment. Haley, standing in the middle of the local bar, her hands drenched in blood, screaming for help while accusing another of her downfall. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must peel back the layers of Haley's deception, explore her motives, and uncover the truth behind her elaborate scheme. The stage is set. Crestwood is the kind of place where everyone knows your name, but not necessarily your secrets. The town's charm lies in its quaint main street, lined with weathered storefronts, and the Rusty Anchor, a dimly lit bar where locals gather to share gossip over cold beers. It's here, in this unassuming setting, that Haley Hamilton has chosen to stage her latest act. Known for her charisma and sharp wit, Haley has always had a knack for drawing attention. But this time, her performance is darker, more dangerous, and far more calculated. Haley's story begins months earlier, when she first whispered to her boyfriend, Bill Travers, that she was pregnant. The news hit Bill like a tidal wave. A hard-working mechanic with dreams of leaving Crestwood for a bigger life, he was unprepared for fatherhood but vowed to stand by Haley. The town buzzed with the announcement, with neighbors offering congratulations and others raising eyebrows, wondering if Haley, known for her impulsive nature, was truly ready for such a responsibility. But there was a problem. Haley wasn't pregnant. The pregnancy was a lie, a carefully crafted fiction designed to bind Bill to her, to keep him from drifting away as she feared he might. For weeks, Haley played the part of the expectant mother flawlessly. She spoke of morning sickness, cradled her stomach in public, and even began knitting tiny booties, which she displayed proudly at the Rusty Anchor. Bill, though initially overwhelmed, warmed to the idea, his love for Haley anchoring him to her side. But lies, like sandcastles, are fragile things, and Haley's deception was beginning to crack under the weight of scrutiny. Friends asked pointed questions about doctor's appointments. Bill's mother, a no-nonsense woman with a sharp eye, noticed inconsistencies in Haley's stories. The pressure was mounting, and Haley knew she needed an escape. A way to preserve her lie while redirecting the town's attention. The night of the scream. It was a humid Friday night when Haley's plan reached its crescendo. The Rusty Anchor was packed, the air thick with the scent of fried food and the hum of conversation. Locals laughed over pool games, and the jukebox played a mournful country tune. Haley, dressed in a flowing white dress that accentuated her supposed pregnancy, entered the bar with a purpose. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with a practiced panic. She stumbled to the center of the room, clutching her abdomen, and let out a blood-curdling scream that silenced the crowd. "Someone, help me," she wailed, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and accusation. Her hands, slick with what appeared to be blood, glistened under the bar's flickering lights. The crimson stain spread across her dress, a shocking contrast to the pristine fabric. The room froze, every eye on Haley as she collapsed to her knees, her sobs echoing through the stunned silence. Dani Carter, a nurse and one of Crestwood's most trusted residents, was the first to react. Pushing through the crowd, she knelt beside Haley, her training kicking in. "I can help you," Dani said, her voice calm but urgent, reaching out to assess the situation. But Haley recoiled, her eyes flashing with venom. "Don't you dare touch me!" she screamed, pointing a trembling finger at Dani. The accusation hung in the air like a guillotine, sharp and unforgiving. Whispers rippled through the crowd as Haley's words sank in. Was Dani, the town's beloved caregiver, somehow responsible for this tragedy? The scene was chaos. Some patrons rushed to Haley's side, others dialed 911, and a few stood frozen, unsure of what they had just witnessed. The blood, the screams, the pointed finger. It was a spectacle designed to captivate and confuse. Paramedics arrived quickly, whisking Haley away to Crestwood General Hospital, leaving the bar in a state of shock and speculation. Dani, visibly shaken, stood alone as the crowd's eyes turned to her, their trust in her wavering under the weight of Haley's accusation. The lie unraveled at the hospital, the truth began to emerge, though not without resistance. Doctors examined Haley, expecting to find evidence of a miscarriage, but their findings were puzzling. There was no medical evidence of pregnancy, no fetal tissue, no hormonal markers, nothing to suggest Haley had ever been carrying a child. The blood, they determined, was not hers. It was a staged prop, likely animal blood or a synthetic substitute, applied with theatrical precision to sell her story. Haley's miscarriage was as fabricated as her pregnancy, a desperate ploy to cover her tracks and shift blame onto someone else. That someone was Dani Carter. But why Dani? To understand Haley's motives, we must look to the past. Dani and Haley had history, a tangled web of rivalry that stretched back to high school. Dani, with her quiet confidence and natural compassion, had always been a foil to Haley's flamboyant ambition. They competed for attention, for accolades, and, most recently, for Bill's affection. Though Bill and Dani had never been more than friends, Haley's insecurities painted Dani as a threat. By framing Dani for her supposed miscarriage, Haley saw an opportunity to eliminate a rival while garnering sympathy and tightening her hold on Bill. But Haley's plan was not without flaws. The hospital's findings raised red flags, and whispers of doubt began to spread. Bill, devastated by the news of the miscarriage, was blindsided when a nurse let slip that Haley had never been pregnant. His confusion turned to anger as he confronted her, demanding answers. Haley, cornered, doubled down, insisting that Dani had sabotaged her, perhaps by slipping something into her drink at the bar. It was a wild accusation, one that strained credulity, but Haley's theatrics were convincing enough to sow seeds of doubt in Bill's mind. The town-divided Crestwood, once a haven of neighborly trust, became a battleground of loyalties. Some believed Haley, moved by her tearful performance and the visceral image of her blood-stained hands. Others rallied behind Dani, whose reputation as a kind and competent nurse made Haley's accusation seem far-fetched. The rusty anchor became a microcosm of the divide, with heated debates erupting over pints of beer. Social media, too, became a battleground, with hashtags like #JusticeForHaley and #StandWithDani trending on X. Posts ranged from heartfelt defenses of Dani's character to vicious attacks on Haley's credibility, with one user writing, "Haley's been playing us all. That blood was fake, and so is her story. #Team Dani." Dani, meanwhile, was reeling. The accusation had tarnished her reputation, and patients at the hospital began requesting other nurses, wary of the rumors swirling around her. She spent sleepless nights replaying the events at the bar, wondering how Haley had managed to orchestrate such a convincing lie. Dani's only solace came from her close friends, who urged her to fight back. "You can't let her win," her best friend, Sarah, insisted. "Haley's always been about drama, but this is dangerous." As the days passed, evidence began to mount against Haley. A bartender at the Rusty Anchor recalled seeing her slip into the bathroom with a small vial just minutes before her dramatic collapse. A local butcher confirmed that Haley had purchased a large quantity of pig's blood earlier that week, claiming it was for a school project. The pieces were falling into place, but Haley remained defiant, weaving new lies to patch the holes in her story. She claimed the hospital had made a mistake, that she had been pregnant but the doctors were incompetent. She even hinted at a conspiracy, suggesting Dani had allies in the medical staff who were covering for her. The cost of deception. Haley's lies were unraveling, but not without cost. Bill, torn between love and betrayal, distanced himself from her, seeking solace in long hours at the garage. The town's trust in its institutions, its hospital, its community, was shaken. Dani, though cleared of wrongdoing by an internal investigation, struggled to regain her footing. The emotional toll of being accused of such a heinous act lingered, and she began to question whether Crestwood was still her home. For Haley, the consequences were more immediate. As the truth came to light, her allies dwindled. Friends who had once defended her began to see through her facade, and the town's sympathy turned to scorn. Yet Haley remained unrepentant, her pride refusing to let her admit defeat. In a final act of defiance, she posted a cryptic video on X, hinting at the next chapter of her story. The video, shrouded in mystery, promised revelations that would shock Crestwood to its core. Was this another lie, or did Haley have one final card to play? The bigger picture Haley's story is more than a tale of personal deception, it's a reflection of the fragility of trust in small communities. Crestwood, with its close-knit bonds and shared history, was ill-equipped to handle the chaos of Haley's lies. Her actions exposed the fault lines beneath the town's idyllic surface, revealing how quickly gossip can turn to judgment, and how easily a single lie can fracture a community. As we await the next twist in Beyond the Gates, one thing is clear: Haley Hamilton's story is far from over. Her lies have left scars, but they've also ignited a fire in those she wronged. Dani, bolstered by the truth, is beginning to fight back, determined to reclaim her name. Bill, grappling with his own pain, must decide whether to forgive or walk away. And the people of Crestwood, caught in the crossfire, must confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes, the real danger lies not beyond the gates, but within their own hearts. What will Haley do next? Will she double down on her lies, or will the weight of her deception finally break her? And what of Dani, whose life has been upended by a single, vicious accusation? The answers lie in the shadows of Crestwood, waiting to be uncovered. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. TV soap news and spoilers for more updates on Beyond the Gates.